Okay, so hello everyone. My name's Sugi Yamagawa, and today on VTubing my slow life hobbies in my 30s, I'm going to be making a folding laundry rack. Initially, we're going to be spending a lot of time here with Table Saw Kun, and yeah, for those who may or may not know, I did do a little bit of planing earlier in the week because I was originally planning to do this stream on Thursday. I think I did that planning on Wednesday night, and work said, hey buddy, you're gonna be really tired. And yeah, I was tired. I was really tired. So, but it is the weekend. I have had a very excellent weekend so far, and I certainly hope all of you all are having a good weekend as well. So, well, I don't know. So I don't know if I'm going to get like super into it, like right off the bat, or actually, yeah, for a bit. I really don't know. Sorry. Originally, I was not planning on. I was planning on being more prepared for today, and yeah, that did not happen because one, I got involved in like doing stuff for like around homestead, primarily building a hop trellis, which there's gonna be stuff on the social after, like going into next week about that. For now, let's just say there's gonna be stuff happening. It's gonna be later, so it's not like right now or anything. Oh, goodness gracious. Ooh, okay. And also, like, so I do want to go ahead and say, yeah, I'm sorry for like rescheduling this stream like twice, but on Sunday I did have a work call thing. I had to take care of that. It was great. And then on Thursday, I did an install that involved getting into an attic, which is very tiring. So I was just like really low energy, and it's like, nah, I can't do this. So it's now the weekend. I'm here. We can do. I can do this. It feels good to finally actually be at this point. Oh my god. Yeah, like I really wish. Yeah, I'm gonna be like kind of rambling, whatever. I don't know, because I've been enjoying a good weekend, and I have actually had a really good weekend so far. So I certainly hope all of you out there have been having a great weekend as well. So I feel like this is kind of enough yapping. Should probably start doing some woodworking. So for that, woohoo, the chicken! Oh, look at it. Grand. I don't really like the color balance, but here's what we got. We got some cedar. This is what it looks like after going through the planer. So, originally for this stream, I was going to use some oak wood that I had lying around. But I was so I have two kind of off pieces of oak lying around, and I was willing to throw two of those for this project. And yeah, those pieces of oak were insufficient in terms of the amount of material I needed, but I could get by with a couple pieces of cedar. Well, 3 pieces, well, 3 pieces of 1 by 4 by 8, which this is not an 8-foot board. This is actually a 4-foot. I've already got it cut down to half. I already have a pile behind me that I don't think you guys can see, but there. So here's what the wood looks like after going through the planer. But oh wow. There's some white stuff there. But it smells really good though. So here's kind of what it looks like on the plain finish end. Looks nice, looks really pretty, has a really nice color. This color is not gonna stay, but it's gonna look amazing when I finish. That's kind of like the things with cedar. I've worked with cedar. I mean, cedar's been worked with quite a bit around here, mostly because I can get it for reasonable prices where I live. The EPA woodshed was built in cedar. All my Japanese sawhorse, well, Japanese sawhorse number 2 is still in construction, but those are built in cedar. And a lot of birdhouses are built in cedar. The bat box is built in cedar. I build a lot of stuff in cedar because I can buy this at bulk at a local lumber mill. It's a reasonable price. It's okay. It's great. But yeah, I'm gonna be very scatterbrained because originally I was intending to have more time to prep for today's stream, and I did not have that time. So, okay. Well, about time I do this thing. About time I make this happen. Yada yada, blah blah blah. But a bit of a yap before we really get into this. So, today I went to a estate sale. And oh boy, was the guy who used to be alive, isn't alive anymore. But, and I don't know your name, sir, but you're a cool dude. You were a cool guy. So I bought a couple different things. I bought some books. I bought clamps. Using those clamps tonight. Also, I have this ruler. So it's kind of like a machinist ruler. I have other metal rulers like this, but this one is very thick. It's very stiff. And yeah, this is also the level of fractions that gets into is quite nice, I think. But yeah. So this is probably gonna get soaked in a rust remover bath at some point. A certain individual who does content adjacent to what I do, he did a hand plane reveal, and seeing that made me really want to do like a hand plane restoration stream, which is in the works. So I have the hand plane. I have ordered materials from Amazon, so we'll see how bad. So that's kind of been a little bit of what's been happening today, but I really feel like we should really get into what's happening today, at least focus is concerned, because I'm going to be perfectly honest, I'd rather get today's stream done sooner rather than later, because I will also be going live Sunday morning. Granted, Sunday morning is going to be a campfire cooking stream, which those are generally more chill than I have to work with a tool that can do harm to me. This is a tool that can do harm to me. It deserves all the respect it can get, all that stuff. So this is a little bit more intense of a stream. So I've already planed these boards, as you can see. We have nice silky smoothness, but the edges though, really rough still. So we have rough edges. We have to fix this at the table saw. So basically we're going to be making rips along the edge on both sides. Then after that, these boards gotta be split down the middle. I also have wildly varying grain patterns. Well, as far as how the boards look. One moment. So, as you can see here, lots of purple, very pretty. Here, you've got just a little bit of purple, lots of white, then we got some live edge going on. So, what I'm going to try to do is... So, this project is going to involve taking 6 of these boards, turning them into 12 boards, and then putting them together for a project. As far as projects go, this should actually be fairly straightforward. I'm certainly hoping so. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. Because anything can happen around here. So. And also, I'm going to be really drinking all my water and all that good stuff because, yeah, I went to Costco and I bought beer today. So, being perfectly honest about who I am as a person. But yeah, I really need to look into, like, what this white stuff is. Because if you give it, like, a good rub, it just comes off. But it makes my hand smell amazing. It makes the hand smell amazing. It smells amazing. And also, this is not traditional... It's not actual it's not cedarus. Genus name, it's not cedar of Lebanon. Oh dear, words are hard right now. This is actually a juniper. So this is Eastern Red Cedar, Juniperus virginianae, Latin name. And a lot of the junipers will have this very purpley pink color to the heartwood. So heartwood is this pretty colors you see. Whereas the not heartwood, that's going to be your lighter, more white colors. But this is really easy to work with material, and while you're working with it, it looks pretty, smells amazing, absolutely amazing. But yeah, I really enjoy working with it and having it here in the shop, and yeah, today we're gonna make something with it. So have a nice sip of tea. I'm gonna take my boards, I'm off to the side. And we'll get into this. Step 1 is setting the fence. So, I hate to break this to you guys, but you're not going to be able to see the vast majority of today's cuts because of how... Well, let's see here. I can bring the table saw a little bit closer. But closer than this is about as far as I can go. So. we're a strong believer in fundamentals around here. So when it comes to table saw safety, you only want the blade as high as your piece of wood. So I'm going to bring the blade up now. As you can see, my blade's proud of the wood. Good. I have my riving knife installed, so that keeps the board from aging in kickback with me. So we've done kind of the first general setup. Now, what I'm going to do is I have bada bang, block. These are the boards that I need to rip an edge on. So what I'm going to do, all 6 of these are going to take a trip through the table saw to rip one edge after I set this. And then I'm going to reset this to do the other edge. And then at that point, I will measure up the boards, figure out what 1/2 the board equals to. Then we'll cut all these in half, and then we'll have a bunch of pieces to start putting together for a project. So I'm intending this to be a pretty straightforward, pretty simple stream, but we'll see how it goes. So, next step. Setting the fence. So, the majority of these boards are just a hair bit longer than 4 inches. So, at my table saw, I'm going to set just 1/16 short of 4 inches. And that's going to be enough. That should be enough for when I send this board through. It gives me a clean edge on this far side. So, I have a blade. Dangerous. So, help me here. I have my push block. So I can put this on my piece of wood, and it helps me send it through the table saw. More importantly, it can slide between the table saw and the blade. And by holding this versus holding the wood, it keeps my fingers safe from the spinny blade of doom. So, with a safety tool acquired, I have lumber to play with. Fence is dialed in. All I have left to do is power this, and we'll be good to do some cuts. Power here. And my power's over here. Oh, all's powered right now. Not going to be taking my fingers anywhere near the blade, because it's not safe to do so. Have a little bit of tea. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to start sending these boards through, and I'm probably going to be stacking them over here as we do rips. Also, I don't have my dust collection hooked up. I do have my air filter running though, but we'll see what happens. Things might get a little dusty in here, so bear with me on that. Okay. Let's have some fun. Got this little bit of piece of wood here. Woo! Pretty papery thin. But yeah. And what happens when you take an edge off? Let's see here. So I didn't do a super great job. Got burn mark, and I have 2 burn mark, but otherwise, it's a nice edge. And also, I have a pile of cedar sawdust over there. So, I've got 5 boards left to do. So what I think I'm gonna do is, if I end up with like any sticks like this, I will stop and remove those. But for the next couple of moments, be focused on ripping some boards. So let's have some fun. Oh, okay. So we got a whole bunch of boards done. So here's an example of one of the live edge pieces. So got a little bit less live edge going on. But as you can see, we still have plenty of nice board. We have a real nice edge now. But yeah, I hope you saw my little bit of technique there was pushing the board through far enough to the point where it tipped up, grabbing it, and adding it to the sack. Really good. That's, generally speaking, what you want to do with the table saw. Also, I did another thing I do want to point out. I had at one point going through those boards, I had a little bit of an offcut hanging around my blade. What I did with that was I took my board, pushed it out of the way of the blade. Like that. Something like that. Anything you do to keep your fingers away from this keeps you safe. Just being really straightforward, really honest with you. And I know at times I don't do the best job with safety here, but I do always want to iterate the importance of safety. So, I have these boards and these edge stone ones. Oh, yeah. So, these are my rough edges. Here you can see the clean edges. Edges nice, smooth. Reasonably good. All that good stuff. Here, rough edges. So, once again, pile of wood here. Pile of wood's going to end up there. Step 1, measure. So, right now, these boards are 1/16 inch short of 4 inches. So, pretty close to 4 inches, but a little bit shorter than that. So, I'm going to unlock table saw. That's the thing that lets me move this back and forth. Clear out my gauge here. So I've set it now to 3/7/8. So when I send these boards through, granted, I should probably, I'll just have to remember to flip them. So that way when I send it through, table saw will take care of this rough edge. So I'm going to let this board be my first one through. I'll see how it do, and we'll go from there. So let's have some fun. Okay. And time for the reveal. Wow! Look at that. Look at that. That is a nice edge. So, as you notice with that, we didn't have any of those like long strips. That meant we were just taking just the right amount of material off to really clean up this edge. So, this is definitely the state where I want my boards to end up in. For the most part, I mean, this was certainly less than ideal, but this is the lumber I got. It's going to be fine. I can work with it. So, let's see. What's our... Okay, yeah. So, it's 3/7/8 long, which... for what's basically at this point in time fully milled up lumber, we're doing really good. Doing really good. Not a lot to worry about. Okay, so pretty happy with my first piece here. So, first piece confirms that table saw settings are accurate. Really not a lot to worry about there. So, I can now start going through, working my boards, and getting the edge cleaned up, and then getting some boards. So, give me a moment. Woo! Okay. So, that last run. My micro jig did take a little bit of a hit. It's a small hit, bit of a hit. But this is why it's best to always have like a push block or some tool to help you feed the wood through. Because better for this to take the hit than any of this stuff. So always work your pieces through with a push block, micro jig, whatever works for you. So okay, so I have lumber. It's now milled on both sides for the most part. This edge was a little bit rough, but that was primarily because I was trying to take off as little material as possible. On all of these, I'm trying to take off very small amounts of material. So, see here, we are just a hair bit short of 4 inches. So, I'm thinking what I need to do, table saw, because I need to rip these boards into 2. So I've got 6 boards. I need to have 12. So I'm going to release this off. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to set it to just a little bit more than 2 3/4 inches. So, what that's going to allow me to do from granted, also I can blade set it down a little bit. So I did drop my blade a little bit because of how much I took off the micro jig, which is fine. Fine. It's just this is a safety tool, so this taking damage is better than me taking damage. So I'm gonna have to be a little bit more careful now because I also want my blade to be in these gaps, so that way it doesn't damage the micro jig. And then as I rip my boards, I'm gonna set my board. Well, actually, speaking of that, let's set the boards over here, and then as we complete the boards, send them over here, a little bit out of the way. Go. We got boards. Got a set fence. We're all good. Let's have a little bit of fun, okay? So, after this first board, I am going to measure and see how it is. And we'll go from there. Okay. So we had one board. It's now 2 boards. Question is, were they this? Ooh, what? Oh my gosh. What happened? So, apparently I was really far off with my cutting them in half. Adjustment. I think. Up to have me here. But yeah, we got quite a bit of an edge. Oh. Which, I mean, is fine. I mean, this is a drying rack. It's pretty simple and straightforward as far. Oh. Honestly, I should have paid more attention to which of the larger of these sides came from which side of the blade. If I had big side being on this side, then I need to bring the fence out this way. Whereas if the larger side was between the blade and the fence, then I need to bring the fence in. So that side's tight. Okay. That side's not. So this was my offcut side. This is the side on side of the blade. Whereas this Actually, let's imagine the fence is the blade. This was in between the fence and the blade. So this was the offcut. This will not go. So what that tells me, I need to bring this fence a little bit further out. And also, if these aren't like super perfect, guess what? Only I am going to be able to tell or see. Fine, not a big deal. So I'm gonna release the fence. And bring it a little bit further. Have a little bit more of a gap. Check, see where my micro jig fits within that. Pick up piece of wood number 2. See what we get. Okay. Woohoo! We are a lot closer now. Oh. This one, we are still... I mean, we're still a hair bit off. But this is the level of off I'm willing to take. Like, probably 1/16. Yeah, we're basically 1/16 of an inch off, so really close. This is also why you check in between cuts. So I'm gonna take the short one. Slides third. Long one. My long one hits the blade a little bit. Also, this is roughly what my final lengths are going to be. So pieces like this, bit of that live edge right there. That, guess what? A perfectly nice side. Some of these we'll be able to show nice wood, like here. Lots of good cedar. So you can kind of vary things a little bit. So I now need to just bring my fence out just a hair. And that's it. That's it. I am pretty confident this is going to be plenty for me. So go ahead, run piece number 3. Pretty interesting piece. Knots down toward here. Lots of heartwood, a big knot, whatever. Come to the other side. And then you see mostly sapwood. Big knot, live edge, sapwood. Oh, let's send this piece through. So, go ahead and evaluate these two. And I gotta say, based off feel, so you see we got it's pretty nice and flush there. And on this side, it's pretty nice and flush there. So I feel like the back one is probably a hair bit longer. But I feel like at this point we might just be splitting hairs. So, pretty good. So, I'm reasonably happy with where the table saw's dialed in at. So, I'm going to go ahead and start running the rest of these pieces through. We've got 3 pieces of lumber to run through. And after that, we can start drilling some holes. So, got our pieces of wood taken care of. So, I can now put table saw coon rest. And also brush off a cornucopious amount of sawdust myself and various surfaces. Because I kicked up a lot of sawdust with all that. But hey, that's part of the fun, you know? For additional safety, power's disconnected. Now, don't have to worry about any shenanigans occurring. But with that, got a whole bunch of boards here. These and a whole bunch of those. And these are going to be our pieces for the laundry rack. So, here are the dowels I have. They are 4-foot long dowels. They are 3/4 inch thick, so got pretty good stiffness to them. Hold a lot of laundry. Good. We want them to be able to hold a lot of laundry. So, Next thing I need to do is decide which one of these boards I want to have holes in them to hold the dowels. So I need 4 boards to hold dowels. And what I'm going to do here now, I'm going to just look at both sides of the board. Then I'm going to create 3 stacks. Stack 1 is low. This one here with all this live edge that doesn't give us a lot of wood to work with. This is going to be a low grade. We're going to have a mid and then we're going to have a high. So we go up to this guy. So we see lots of sapwood. But then on this side, we see lots of the heartwood. Very pretty. Generally, but both sides are good. High grade. So keep going through these. So a little bit of sapwood here, but it's thin. Well, we got a bit this live edge. Sorry about that. But we got a lot of sapwood. Then we get a good mix in here. So this one, I'll call it a mid grade. This side's definitely a mid grade. This side's definitely a higher grade, but we'll just call it a mid grade. But this next piece here, you just pick it up. We look at it, and all we see is just a little bit of sapwood here at the end. Flip it over. Okay, we got a little bit of live edge, most of sapwood, some streaking going into a little bit of roughness. Mid grade. Next piece. Bada bang, bada boom. Look at this rock star right here. Absolutely incredible. So let's flip them over. Okay, so we got a lot of sapwood going on, but it transitions into heartwood. It'd be an aesthetic choice because it. So this heartwood color will not remain forever. Will actually darken up to like a dark brown. But I really like the color of the heartwood, so high grade stack. And next up is got a lot of sapwood. A lot of sapwood. Flip her over. Got a little bit of roughness here, but that roughness also comes with some reasonably nice heartwood. But I really want to cover up that roughness right there. Stick this in low grade. Stick it in low grade. So, next piece. See a lot of the sapwood. Once again, mixed with heartwood. Flip them over. Oh, got that rough patch right there. But otherwise, a reasonably strong showing heartwood. Throw that in low grade. Up next is a little bit of sapwood. There's a little bit of roughness from planer. Through the planer. But otherwise, look at that beautiful heartwood. What does the other side show? Oh my gosh, look at that wonderful heartwood. As far as the eye can see. I'm gonna throw this in the high grade stack. And up next is this wonderful piece, which once again, more wonderful heartwood. Flip it over. See a lot of sapwood, but not really a lot of imperfections. High grade. Up next, we have a little bit of sapwood here intermixed with some of the hardwood. But it transitions down to beautiful hardwood at the end. Flip her over. We have hardwood with a streak. Well, we have sapwood, light color, with a little live edge. So I'd say this side's a high grade. This side's kind of a mid grade. So I'm just throwing it in mid grade with the high side up. Now for our last piece, we have this. So we start off with a good intermix between hardwood and sapwood, going down the line, transitioning into a more solid column of heartwood. Flipping this over and not looking at that planer snipe at all. Please don't look at the planer snipe. Don't mention it. We have mostly sapwood with streaks of heartwood transitioning down into fully sapwood with a little bit of live edge. This side is technically, I would call this low. This side's probably a mid. Throwing it in the low stack. And here we are, chat. We have mid-grade, well, high-grade stack of boards, mid-grade stack of boards, and a low-grade stack of boards. So, what I want to do for the pieces that require dowels is I want to use these low grades. I want to use my stuff that doesn't look as great. These are the pieces I am happily willing to send a drill through and be like, hey, you're getting a drill sent through you. I don't care. All that good stuff. So, got those and those. Then we got these. The high grades, I want to make the exterior. So, we're going to have some boards that are going to just, and exclusively just, make up the exterior of this build. I want to use my high grades for that. I want really nice, pretty grain patterns for the outside and also the top of these folding laundry rack. Everything else, like, even this, like, it's like, this piece of wood's very genuinely pretty. However, though, it has this one blemish. Where the board's a little bit thin, the planer didn't take off as much as wood, and actually, and this is also another good example for us, this brown color is actually what this purple color is gonna, like, turn into it. So, that's all that. I'm gonna sip some water. I love that water. So, grab bits, paddle bits, man. I love yourself some good paddle bits. And for today, I want my 3/4. And let's see if we can get those out with the cuts I just made. Which I literally bought these. I literally bought this whole set just for today's stream. Because I needed fresh paddle bits. Granted, I've also been, like, really relying on the Fastener bits for the campfire not the campfire cooking, but the yapping sawdust. Especially building the Japanese sawhorse build. Fine, we'll do it this way. We'll do it your way. Bada bang. Bada bang. So that's that. The rest of the stuff can go off to the side. Woo. Okay. Now that I get a bit of all this out of my eyes, what I want to do here is I want to, as best as I can, I am going to line these boards up. Sorry, I can't super show this. We'll try to kind of show it. I'm going to grab my clamp. Yeah. And we'll tighten it down. Now, what I want to do here, I'm just trying to hold these two boards together. I'm going to be doing a lot of putting my fingers along edges to make sure that is the case. Oh. Okay. I've got 2 boards clamped together. So, the whole point with clamping these boards together is I'm going to drill them. And I drill them by having them clamped together like this. This means when I insert, because what's going to happen is one of these is going to get a dowel hole. And then the other one's going to get the other side of the dowel, and then these are going to make opposite sides of the frame. So what I'm wanting to do is clamp them up, get them nice and even, best as I can. And with that, I'm going to drill holes. I've got 8 dowels. So one side of the frame is going to get 4 dowels. And I am actually my handy dandy building instructor. Okay. So my handy dandy building instructions do not tell me the intervals for dowel placement. So I'm going to get my tape measure out. I'm going to kind of look at things here. So I need my dowels to be at a reasonable placement. I have to place 4. So if I do 8, 16, 24, 32, I'd say that's pretty reasonable. That's every 8 inches. And if I do it with my last one being at 32, these are 48. It's going to be 48 inches tall. Gives me a pretty okay space. So if I do 7 inches, it'll be 7, 14, 21, 28. I'm really tempted to go 7, because 7 will give me a little bit more length going down. One of the things about this is I want my last dowel to be as far from the bottom as possible, because the further the dowel is from the floor, the more room there is for like the t-shirt or shorts, socks, undies, whatever it be, to like hang in air dry. So I think 8 inches will be perfectly acceptable. And also I think there's a lot of value getting pretty close, but you also want to have like a good like spacing. I think 7 is going to be the best compromise here. So seven, 14, 21, 28. So that's boom, 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 boom. That's where my dowels are going to go. And now that I'm actually looking at it, my dowels are on when it, because there's going to be like 20 inches from be 20 inches from here my end. But honestly, like here to here, that's a reasonable, because the thing is like when this is built up as a frame, clothes hang here, clothes hang here, clothes hang here, clothes. My clothes are definitely going to be a little bit focused higher up. If I commit to this. But I honestly think this is a reasonably good commitment. I don't think it's going to look as good as the build plans. Granted, the build plans finish. Only show the finished thing. And they're also showing pretty close. Alt space. Okay. I'm reasonably happy with it. So I'm gonna commit to this. So I wanna be okay. Oh. Set my spacing, all that good stuff. I want some D life. Hell yeah, T. Okay. So. We have spacers. Something to kind of raise this up, give it a little bit of bracing. I have these, but I don't want to drill into them. No, unless I know where I'm going. So I have a reasonable amount of room. So let's drill. And then for a lot of drilling wood, you always want to like find your spot, give it a good firm push. You'll make a small little divot. And that divot helps self-center your drill bit. So let's see what we get. Ooh, that's a hole. Now, I do want to make sure. Oh, wow. Okay. Ooh, okay. That's even better. Like, it's a little bit... It's tight, but I can actually kind of, like, wiggle it in there. Oh, that's very ideal. That's very ideal. So, good, 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 good. All good things. Oh, make sure my boards are lined up. Ba bang, ba boom. Hole drilled. Let's just continue the momentum. Woohoo! And we'll bring this in a little bit more. For the final hole. Woohoo! It smells cedary it smelled cedary in here for a while, but it smells real cedary. So, got that all done. Yay! Oh, let's grab next pieces here. a line up on down here. Take care of the other end. And then we'll basically rinse and repeat what we did. Those. What? Oh. Okay, so see here, reasonably length. Make sure it's reasonably straight. Down. Oh yeah, that's what we want. Yeah. Aha. And let's grab and tape measure. Mark 1, 7. Interval 2, 14. Interval 3, 21. Interval 4, 28. Bop, 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 bop. Here. Woohoo! Okay. Let's drill. Whoop, whoop. Okay. Woo! I love the smell of cedar in the morning. Oops, sorry about that. Woo! One more hole. Do 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 do. Okay, let's go. Okay. I'm curious as to the tear out. Because that's what happens when you drill through a piece of lumber without backing. Okay. Tear out's there, but it's not terrible. Woohoo! Look at that. It's holes in the pieces of wood, man. Lovelykins. Okay. So, we're doing pretty good. Doing pretty good. Pretty happy with how the build's progressing so far. Unfortunately, I must inform you all that I have to use the restroom. So, use the restroom right quick. And since we're no longer going to be using the spinny blade of doom, I'll grab me a beverage and we'll get back to it. So, see you here in a few. Okay, and I'm back. And I'm back with the beverage of champions. Granted, I went to Costco today and I love going to Costco. Costco is amazing. Costco is love. Costco is life. But yeah, cheers everyone. So, next step in today's process is to disconnect these boards from each other. Now, really important step aspect of building this is this set is a pair, this set's a pair. We've measured and marked them the same. However, though, we wish to pair these two together and those two together. So we're going to have an A-frame. One side is going to have two of these glued. I just grabbed one of my mid-grades, one of these, and then the dowel is going to go into this. Well, let me loosen this clamp for a bit of an easier explanation. So, got that. We got this. This is going to get glued to this. And what that's going to do is all those holes where our dowels are supposed to go. Grab a dowel. Hey, come over here. That's going to provide a spot for our dowel to go into. Dowel's going to go into that and secured, and then we will do the same thing, this piece, and then the dowel's going to get secured. Even with that live edge on that one, still got like a good, look at a pretty good like half-inch of material. So really cool is I can have this face on the inside of the piece, have this be the outside. Now granted, that'll kind of create a little bit of hollow, which could be an issue, but I'm not particularly worried about this as long as this holds close up and dries them well. I will be very happy with how this build turns. So for a pair drill piece, this is going to become the outside facing part. The part that does not get the glue is going to be the part that looks pretty. So this part got a little bit of live edge, mostly sapwood going all the way around, and then flip it over, and oh my gosh, look at all that heartwood, except for a little bit of a blend between the sap and heartwood. So mostly sapwood side is where I want to put my glue. And here's wood glue. Wood glue! I love wood glue. Oh, I love it when it cooperates with it. Oh my goodness. Let's see here. Local tool number 34. Thank you, local tool number 34, for opening my bottle of glue. So basically I had to break this cap open. So you see how there's a gap there? That's the bottle closed. That's the bottle open. So what's going to happen here is I'm going to be applying a generous helping of glue to this board here. So down the, I do a bit of a zigzag pattern just to get good consistency. Also, I should probably hold it a little bit closer to the board. That'll probably help me out a little bit. So, and we'll just, and also feel free to be generous with this. Feel free to be very generous with glue usage. And once I come down to here, we'll call that good for this. So, pretty generous, pretty, I'd like to consider respectable help. Oh, pretty respectable helping of glue here. So, there, set this here. So, I now have my piece with holes. Now, I have one side, I have some really pretty knots. I have a little small there, nothing terrible. A lot of sapwood, and then nothing spectacular. One of these people have this. Got a little bit more heartwood, but I have this really rough spot from the planer. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna honestly opt for this side for my inside piece. So I'm gonna take this rough spot and hide it like that. Ooh. All like that. Make sure. Now, this end is going to be my top. It's going to be the top. This side of the world is going to be a little bit closer to eye level. Why am I talking about that? I have a little bit of a lip here. I can take care of that later. Not necessarily going to take care of it now, because I just threw some glue on. But go ahead and add a clamp. So whenever you do like a nice glue up, you always clamp. Now the purpose of the clamp, the glue up, is you want to push those boards together, because how the glue cures, if you will, that it cures through mechanical contact. So you always want to make sure you have a really good, solid, you want to have a good amount of pressure. Go ahead and this with and that ends reasonably. As you can see here, nice little bit of squeeze out right there. Which if you get like a little bit of squeeze out, that's a good indication that didn't have the most tightening the clamp till it's right where it needs to be, and now I've gotten glue. So we got a nice little bit of squeeze out here, squeeze out down here, and oh yeah, I haven't mentioned this yet, but some point after stream today, I will actually have a link in the description for the build plans for this. The build plans aren't super specific, so do feel free to enjoy them as you will. But yeah, just letting you know that I haven't thought about like putting a link to build plans or anything. So this is actually going to be one of our legs. So I'm just going to be really extra adjusting, really adjusting the clamp, because the clamp is with the glue, the boards like to slide across each other, and I always it's worth taking a little bit of extra effort to kind of make sure you even up the clamping pressure reasonably well. That way they get reasonably joined together. In today's case, so wait. Hold on a moment. I need to look through my scrap lumber for this point. Ooh, okay, so I actually have showing materials for today, and hey, peace. Got clamps on you. I'm gonna take you off to the side. Okay, that's off to the side. Now to have a very fun conversation about lumber and nominal versus real directions. So, behold, this is a scrap of 2x4 technology. Basically, it is 2x4. What they say, not how it actually is. What it actually is I think it's generally 3.5 inches. Ooh, wow, look at that. That is actually less than 3.5 inches right there. And we are even less than 1.5 inches. So, but generally speaking, when you buy a 2x4, you're generally getting like 1.5 inches of lumber by 3.5 inches, generally speaking. So maybe this has shrunk down a little bit more. This is actually an old piece of lumber, because in which tell that I look at all those growth rings. Look at all those growth rings. Actually, this is a lot of growth rings. Let's count some growth rings, because wood's neat. Got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 11, 12, 13, 14, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 27, 28, 30, 34. We have 34 growth rings in this piece of 2x4. That's a lot. This is actually old 2x4s. This is old lumber. Lumber back in the olden days of, say, 50 plus years ago was like this. Let me dig back through my scrap and see if I have something a bit more modern. So I have this piece here, which I guess we can count growth rings. I might make a fool of myself right now, but hey, I mean, hey, I'm a VTuber. Making fool of yourself is what you do. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 11, 12, 14, 15. All this down. 17, 18, 19, 20. So we're dealing with 20 some odd growth rings. And as you can see, a bit wider of a spacing, especially with the early growth rings versus this one. But that's just the difference between old and new wood. Old wood grew over a longer period of time and reached higher levels of age had a tighter ring spacing, and generally just made for more like dimension stable lumber. That's just a fun, neat fact of lumber. Now, the fun, neat fact of lumber that this whole initial conversation started with is the fact that this is a 2x4. This is a 1x4. Ish. And this gets a really big asterisk right now. Because this is actually an end cut from which one of these boards came from. So it's a 1x, but look at this. It is nearly 1/17, not 17, 15 and 16ths. Like it is a 15 and 16ths of an inch thick. Generally speaking, a 1x piece of lumber is 3/4. Which I'm sorry, metric people, but I live in America, and this is the system I've grown up and lived with. This has 3/16ths more thickness than an average piece of wood of this rating. But the real magic is here. This is advertised for sale as 1x4. Actually, I'm not sure how I'm going to be able to do this, but I really want to be able to do it. So bear with me a few, chat. I gotta grab a screen. I gotta grab a screen. And hey you, don't do that. That's good enough. Okay, so this is actually 4 inches across versus our 2x4. That's not even 3.5 inches. So this is kind of like one of the neat things when you like get lumber at a local supplier is, hey, sometimes the wood's got a bit more wood to it, you know? So even when because I technically did mill these boards down to make them, shiny and silky smooth, because this is actually what they looked like before, like rough. It's like, here's like the sawmill cut end, here's the cut end I made. And also, so you see the purple color? That's what it's going to eventually look like. It's going to be like a nice dark brown. So if I get, going back to earlier one, having a nice mix between the dark brown and like because the whitish color is going to stay, but the purplish color is going to, I think that makes for a real nice like color blend. But that's just me. And I have very little artistic background. I have very little understanding of those things. I'm a guy with hobbies who has fun. That is all I am. So, oh gosh. Sorry about that. Had to have some water. Lots of yapping. Lots of yapping. Lots of blah 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 blah, all those things. So, but yeah, we have here another piece of lumber, and so going back to what I was actually just talking about was the blending between light color, slightly dark color. Definitely want to have this be like the more outward focused color. Live edge, we really want to cover up as much of it as we can. So we'll grab ourselves another piece of mid-grade lumber. So this one's got a pretty good, for the most part, has a pretty good blend. A little bit of live edge. If we flip it over, oh my gosh, goodness gracious, look at how beautiful that is. So I always think like the hardwood ends look better. So we're gonna focus those towards the top. So this is the surface of this board that's going to get glued. Whereas this is going to be the part that I am going to be looking at when I'm hanging my laundry on it. Sorry, the surface of wood. I am not going to be able to see you for much longer. So let's apply some glue. Also, I'm gonna try and not be super glue happy. I make no guarantees. But I do want to be I'm perhaps going to be wanting to be a little bit generous with glue on this one, because this piece has all that live edge. I would like to fill that up a little. Cocoon will be very upset with me. I got a bunch of glue. Woohoo! That's a lot of glue, all right. Bottle still. And also, it's the weekend. Cheers. So, layer of glue applied. Take our piece. Close as we can to where we want it. And then use our fingers here to line everything up. Really important, this end, that we get it nice and flat, because that's going to be the top. Nice and flush there. However, though, after putting my fingers on it, top piece definitely wider than the bottom piece by probably 1/8 of an inch. In terms of the scope of this project, I'm worried about it. However, though, just keep that in mind. If you have like a little bit of variability with your piece sizes, that may come through when you get to the stage. Depending on what you want, because like this is actually really easy. Clean up is that you could line up one edge, or you could just like center it, and then you could just run the fully set glued up piece through the table saw afterward. There's genuinely a lot of ways to actually like make this like be pretty and stuff. So do whatever make you happy. Oh, I need to grab some clamps, because I have some over there that are holding things, and other clamps that are not holding things. Clamps that aren't holding things. Also, I bought these today from the estate sale. They're very stiff, but I'm just gonna hope that's like a quality thing. I already see a nice little bit of squeeze out forming over there. And I think one of my weaknesses is this piece has a bit of a bow to it, judging by how it feels. So I'm going to live with it. Get things as close to where I want them. Don't get too wild on me, please and thank you. Thank you. Okay, There we go. Well, for the most part. Ooh, yeah, there we go. There we go. Okay. Give this a nice tightening up. Now, technically, with this being like basically a 4-foot-ish piece of lumber, I would want to probably add a third clamp. Unfortunately, I'm very clamp deprived right now. I don't think I have enough clamps to do all the gluing I'm doing, because basically what's happened so far is we've glued this, we've glued the other side of one frame. I still have to make the top part of the frame and then the other side of the frame. So as far as gluing up is concerned, I am 2/3 of the... No, I'm not 2/3. I'm 1/3. 1/3. I am 1/3 of the way through it. So, since I am being very slow with this, I'm going to try to maintain some momentum, and I'm going to take this off to the other side. Let's hang out doing his thing. You know what? Hey, you, buddy. Yes, you. Yeah. You. We're going to play with you next. Step 1 was you're going to take these clamps off. Because, not going to lie, after doing this build, I definitely need to invest in a few more of these clamps, because... So, these are actually clamps I bought from Harbor Freight. And you know what? I think I paid like $3 a clamp, and honestly, for that price, and for the amount of use I've gotten out of them, money well spent. So, first piece to interview. Here. Lots of heartwood. And we get into this rough spot. That rough spot I don't like. So, board, what's your other side look like? So we got so we actually have a little bit of intermixing. So we have heartwood and sapwood, right? Mostly sapwood, with a nice mix. So, in fact, if it wasn't for this rough spot, I'd definitely be going with this side, but you know what? This has got like a nice visual mix. We'll go with this. So, this is what we wish to see. Finished build. So, now comes for the backing board. Other part. So, we got some sapwood. Ooh, look at that. A little bit of live edge, but not too deep. And then just a widgeon of heartwood. Round the knot. Finishing off of sapwood. Okay. Other side. What do you have? A nice intermixing of heartwood. Sapwood. But mostly heartwood. Down. Very nice mix, actually. Very nice mix. So, this is going to be the part I want to see. This is the part I want to look at. And I'm folding laundry. This part I don't care so much about. So, part that I don't care too much about, guess what's going to happen to you? You're going to get glue. You're going to get a lot of glue. Glue. If it comes out of my bottle. And also, pardon me, I had to take a sip of my beer right quick. Because I am a man of my beer. For the beer is good. And the beer is what makes the life good. Granted, that's also kind of like one of the fun with making stuff and whatnot is you don't have to worry too much about that. Like alcohol neighbor. As long as it's relatively low risk and you know how to manage that risk. In this case, I'm interviewing my boards, making sure that I see. And when I loop my boards together, I'm making sure I am taking the time to things out, adjust, do what I need to do. All those fun good things. So this is actually gonna go. I think this is. I can't believe how well this one's actually going. Okay, so that's flush there. And that end is going to be the like top end of the build. So don't get locked in the miter slot of my table. Kinda. Also holding it. Oh. Okay. Slowly bring up the pressure on. Okay. So, got ourselves a nice decent bit of squeeze out there. Bit of squeezing out there. See, lines are very ideal. But got a little bit of springiness in our piece here. It's not helping it line up. That's why we used 2 clamps. So, I'm gonna hold it together relatively evenly on one side. And we're gonna tighten this bad boy down. And with that, I got so much squeeze out on me. But hey, look at the squeeze out, man. Look at that squeeze out. Look at that. Look at that. This is a piece of wood that's going to become... It's 2 pieces of wood that are going to become 1 piece of wood. Ay, ay, ay. Also, I've been having way too much fun today. That there. Okay, so we have our final piece here. So, top end, a nice intermixing of sapwood. Well, we got a little bit of the heartwood, but mostly sapwood. But it also transitioned just life edge and sapwood. So, flip it around. Ooh, okay. Light twinge of heartwood. The sapwood. Look, some heartwood. Very pretty, very pretty. Okay, so this is I'm definitely going to be leaning pretty hard on this hardwood side. So this is the side that I really want to. This is the side I want to look at. Laundry. So we're going to go with this. So we have ourselves 1 piece of mid-grade lumber. Let's take a look. Starting off with mostly sapwood. Continuing down the line with mostly sapwood, with a little bit of what seems to be a odd bit of live edge, followed up by a large knot, showcasing some really purpley heartwood. More sapwood all the way through. Okay. A little bit of interest. Kind of boring. Other side. Going to the other side, we start off with nice intermixing between heartwood and sapwood. Continuing on down with an alrightish amount of knots. Continuing down with a little bit of sapwood and a nice, reasonably nice, like this is reasonably interesting. Certainly, maybe not. Some people would describe as perfect, but this side is definitely the more aesthetically pleasing side. So it shall be faced down. That way, this side may receive the glue. The blessing of the glue. Now, kind of just looking at things and sizing up what I got going on. So. Woo! Glue time. Once again, we'll be applying a generous helping of glue. And I should be keeping my glue bottle closer to the wood. But I'm doing a poor job of that, so don't do as me. Then I'm going to hit that one area a little bit heavy with glue, just because I want to make sure it has a good amount of glue. Generous amount of glue going around. Generous amount of glue has been secured. And we'll... Whoop. That's bonding done. So this top piece definitely feels a little bit thinner than the piece below it. So I have to be a little bit careful with how I do this glue up, just to make sure I get things reasonably centered well. So give me a moment. I gotta grab some more clamps. Ha! More clamps, because that's basically what's gonna happen to. I grab lots of clamps. Granted, these clamps are fun because these are my ratcheting clamps. So, you know, neat, super neat. I love them. I do. Woohoo! Real nice, healthy squeeze out, which I'll show you here in a bit. But first, I gotta get this other clamp. Okay, here we go. Okay, so here's a little bit of that squeeze out we had from earlier. Ah, there it is. Woohoo! Coming around to the other side. Intermittent squeeze out, but I mean, the thing is I really should have probably another clamp here, but I don't have. But I don't have the additional. prior to today, I only had, so I think these are my 2-foot clamps, and those are my 1-foot or 6-inch clamps. Because I had 4 of these bad boys, which takes 2 to glue up one board, and then I have these guys. Granted, I just have 2 of these, so really glad I picked up some more clamps today. Really helped me out. But I know this is probably not the best thing in the world to do. But I think I'm actually going to go ahead and, well, let's see here. Go on the you know what? I'm going to be honest. I'm going to go ahead and end stream tonight just because I want these to set up. Actually, you know what? I have 2 more clamps. I just bought these today. Let's use them. But we'll get some... We'll be a little bit extra with our clamping game. I saw a little bit of gapping there, and I really want to do something. Granted, I do think this is very fun. This is gonna be a reasonably fun showcase. There we go. Now I'm starting to feel like a real woodworker. You can never have enough clamps. Oh, goodness gracious. But yeah. So, I've thrown the better part of the clamps I've owned at this. Do I have more? Yes, I do. But those are large, like, clamps not meant for this application. That today, as far as like small clamps for gluing up small things, this is what I have. So, I am going to say I'm going to go ahead and end stream tonight because I will be streaming tomorrow morning. So I want to make sure I take care of myself, rest up for that, because I've already been going for like a good 2 hours, so, which I'm always happy to have, I mean, this is about roughly the length of time that I prefer to stream. As much as I would like to be vicious, go for the gold, I can't do that because, well, I have a life, and I also got, well, also I got to stream tomorrow morning, really. That's the biggest it comes down to, because I would like to have a bit of time to clean up a little bit from night, then going into tomorrow, make sure I get a good night's rest, and I can like get all set up for tomorrow. So let me grab some water right quick. So tomorrow we'll be gathered around the campfire. We're gonna be cooking. We're gonna be making some cheesy potatoes. A pretty straightforward, simple recipe. I'm very much looking forward to it. And it's literally a recipe I'm making because I need to use up some ingredients I have. So, okay. So, before I get high on on the off-gassing from glue fumes, this is Sergey Yamagawa. And I'm just a regular guy, VTubing my slow life hobbies in my 30s. And I hope you have a wonderful evening, night, morning, whatever it is, wherever you are. And I'll see you all in the next one. Okay, bye-bye. Woohoo!